This is 10-3 operations with radicals. So we need to learn how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide expressions with radicals in them. So first we need to establish what like radicals are. They have the exact same stuff under the square root. It's kind of like terms with variables. Unlike radicals, don't have the exact same stuff under the square root. For example, we've got 3x plus 5x minus 2y. 3x and 5x are like terms. We would add those to get 8x minus 2y. The 8x and 2y are not like terms, and so we would not add or subtract those. Same thing, works the same way with radicals. 3 root 7 plus 5 root 7 is 8 root 7. Those are like radicals, and then minus 2 root 5 is what's left over. All right, so let's combine some like radicals. We've got 6 root 11 and 9 root 11. You're going to add the 6 and the 9 to get 15, and then just attach the root 11. The next one, we're subtracting them. There is an unwritten 1 in front of that first radical expression. 1 minus 5 gives me negative 4, and then attach the root 3. Why don't you try the ones below here, and I'll put the solution up. All right, let's go on to the next one here. So adding, subtracting terms with like radicals. Now sometimes they don't initially look like they're like radicals, but if we use that process of simplification of radicals that we studied last chapter, we may see that they'll match. So 5 root 3, nothing I can do in terms of simplifying that. But root 12 could be rewritten as root 4 times root 3, where root 4 is the greatest or biggest perfect square factor that goes into 12. And so we have 5 root 3 minus 2 root 3. 5 minus 2 is 3 root 3. So why don't you pause the video and try the ones below, and then I'll put up solutions. You can check. Go ahead and check those, and hopefully you got it. So it's simplifying first, and then looking for like radicals, and then combining if you can. All right, multiplying radical expressions. Works the same as multiplying algebraic expressions. We have parentheses, we got to distribute. So this would be root 60 plus 3 root 10, so distributing. So I went to the... All right, and then we're going to simplify these radical expressions after multiplying them. So square root of 60, think about the biggest perfect square that might go into that. We have 4 and 15. And we've got 2 root 15. Since they're not like radicals, we're going to just leave it like that. All right, the next one is like multiplying 2 binomials. You're going to have to use FOIL here. So we do root 6 times root 6, which is just 6. And then root 6 times root 13, which is root 18. Then do negative 2 root 3 times root 6, which is minus 2 root 18. And then 2 root 3 times root 3 is negative 2 times the root 3 times root 3 is root 3 squared. Remember, the squaring cancels out the root, leaving just 3. So we've got 6 If I combine these two right now, that'd be minus 1 root 18, and then minus 6 here. The 6's will cancel. 6 minus 6 is 0, leaving just negative root 18. And then negative root 18 is negative root 9 times root 2, or negative 3 root 2. I'd like you to try the next two on there, and then I'll follow up with solutions. Check your solutions, see if it matches up with what I got. And we're going to go on to an example of division. So we looked at addition, subtraction, and multiplication of radical expressions. This next word problem presents a division problem. It says fiddlehead ferns naturally grow in spirals that fit into golden rectangles. Golden rectangles have ratio of length to width 1 plus root 5 over 2. So we got length to width of 1 plus root 5 over 2. And so I'm going to set up what's called a proportion. This is going back to last semester. If we're given that the length over here is 4 centimeters, that's got to correspond to the 1 plus root 5 in the ratio. And the W will correspond to the 2 in the ratio. This gives us an opportunity to cross multiply in order to solve. So I've got 2 times 4 is 8 equals W times 1 plus root 5. And the way we solve this is by dividing each side by that radical expression 1 plus root 5. So these cancel, leaving me with W equals 8 over 1 plus root 5. So the question is, how do I simplify that? We don't want any radicals in the denominator in our simplified radical form. So the way which we go about doing that is by multiplying top and bottom by something called, it's like a conjugate. It's 1 minus root 5 over 1 minus root 5. And I'll show you what that does. Just a minute here. So if I multiply top and bottom by 1 minus root 5, which I'm allowed to do, 1 minus root 5 divided by 1 minus root 5 is just 1. Doesn't change the value here, but we're simplifying it by rationalizing the denominator. So if I distribute the 8, I get 8 minus 8 root 5. And on the bottom, this is a difference of squares special product. And so it will not have a middle term. If you look at just the first terms, 1 times 1 is 1. The middle terms would be root 5 and negative root 5, which will cancel out. And the last terms are root 5 times root 5, which is just 5. And we do have a minus sign in between because of the different signs here and here. So this ends up equaling 8 minus 8 root 5 over negative 4. One more thing can be done. If you look separately at the two parts of the fraction here, that 8 divided by negative 4 would equal negative 2. And this guy right here, negative 8 divided by negative 4 would be positive 2 with a root 5 attached. And that's our final answer. And so this gives us an example of what we do when we are dividing radical expressions. It ends up turning into multiplication by what's called the conjugate of this expression 1 plus root 5. Conjugate is just same expression, different sign in between. We've also looked at division in the sense that we've kind of multiplied top and bottom by whatever you see in the bottom, and we've done that as well. We're not doing that here because we want this root 5 to be out of the bottom, and if I multiplied top and bottom by 1 plus root 5, we would end up with a middle term that has a root 5 in it. So we need to multiply by, instead, 1 minus root 5. So now I'll let you try it here. I'll set it up and solve it as well. This one has a 12 inches long in it, so it's going to be pretty similar. Set up here, 12 instead of 4 going up there. So we've got 24 equals W times 1 plus root 5. And so 24 over 1 plus root 5 equals W. So W equals, I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 1 minus root 5. My answer is -6 plus 6 root 5. So be sure to write a summary. Our learning target today was just to be able to add, subtract, multiply, divide, and still simplify radical expressions. So that was helpful.